century can be described as a century of revolution. As the millennium went on and society advanced, revolutions of every kind were taking place, ranging from technology and entertainment to political and social revolutions. Such a revolution that is underappreciated as much as it is historically significant is the Mexican Revolution. One of the first major revolutionary efforts to take place in northern/Latin America, the Mexican Revolution began in 1910 and carried on for approximately a full decade, with tensions still boiling even after armed conflict officially ended. Similarly to the conditions in Vietnam, China, and other countries that experienced revolutions throughout the 20th century, the Mexican Revolution is rooted in an anti-colonialist struggle. For centuries, indigenous Mexicans were brutalized and controlled under the thumb of Spanish colonialism. European conquistadors had taken control of the region, establishing Spanish-born Europeans as the majority dominating force. In the early 19th century, however, the Mexican War of Independence raged on for over 10 years until these particular revolutionary forces had removed the shackles of European colonialism, at least in name. This revolution, however, was not a complete one. Similarly to the American Revolution of 1776, the gains in this stage of Mexican independence, for the most part, only applied to the wealthier independence fighters, those who were still Spanish-blooded. The working class of Mexico faced continued hardship for another 100 years until the spark of revolution was ignited again in 1910. Longtime president of Mexico, Porfirio Diaz, had represented the interests of the wealthy along with foreign interests for approximately 40 years, violating both the 1857 Constitution and the interests of the workers and general public. There were two strategies presented in this revolution. One came from the side of Francisco I. Madero and Francisco Pancho Villa in the northern half of Mexico, calling for the strengthening and the upholding of the 1857 Constitution, and essentially trying to establish Mexico as a bourgeois democratic republic. In southern Mexico, the Zapatistas, the followers of one Emiliano Zapata, fought for a more radical end goal. The Zapatistas in the south fought for the advancement of workers, land reform, wealth redistribution, and other similar programs. As the revolution developed and continued, political leadership in Mexico became immensely unstable. After the ousting of Porfirio Diaz, Madero rose to power in 1911. Madero's time as president was rather short-lived, though, having been assassinated in early 1913 and being replaced by one General Victoriano Huerta, himself a figure who would lead through a more autocratic style. Furthering Mexico's political turbulence, Huerta would later be disposed from office and usurped by Venustiano Carranza. It would be under Carranza's presidency that legitimate steps were taken to stop the bloodshed and bring about at least some form of stability in Mexico. In 1917, a certain level of compromise was made when the Carranza government drafted a new constitution implementing certain ideas from the Zapatistas and ideals of Madero and Villa. Though the adopting of a new constitution led to the formal end of the Mexican Revolution, tensions continued to be high and conflict would carry on for another 3 years, so technically the Mexican Revolution didn't really end until 1920.